Greetings. I want to talk to you about what is arguably the most important thing that you ever need to know, and that is how your brain works. And if you think about it, it makes a lot of sense. After all, what you think drives your behavior, and your behavior determines everything about your life. The ironic thing to me is that we don't talk about it very much at all, and possibly the reason for that is that we don't understand it. So to help you better understand it, I'm going to kind of walk you through the process as to how your mind works to help you better understand what drives your behavior and that of others. All right. To start with, I think most people understand the concept that we have a conscious part of our brain and our subconscious part of our brain. And the best way that that's normally evident is like when you hear a loud sound. You do that and you might jump before you even realize your awareness that a loud sound has happened. That is your subconscious at work. And that highlights one really important concept about your subconscious, and that's the fact that it is fast. It is automatic. The way that happens is that during the course of your day, your brain, your awareness, and your subconscious are both processing everything that's going on from your five senses, right? It's looking at your sight, your sound, and so on. And both parts of your brain are drawing conclusions based upon what they are sensing from the environment. In the case of the sound, it hears a loud boom, it thinks danger, and it thinks you should recoil. So that is a conditioned response. And that's kind of the key thing about your subconscious. And that's what differentiates it from your consciousness or your awareness. Now here's the thing. When you make a subconscious conclusion based upon a sound or really a feeling, and that's the big area we need to talk about, you don't know the source of it. So if you're interacting with someone and they're saying things and their demeanor is in such a way, and you start to feel something about them, and when I mean feel, I mean physical sensations, negative or positive, what is going on in your body is that your subconscious is drawing a conclusion and is making you feel something as a result. However, you have no idea what the sources of those conclusions are. So that might be things from your youth that might be right, or that might also be wrong, and there also might be stuff that's absent. So that's kind of the key, is that your subconscious during the course of your day is constantly making you feel things based upon your history, from your memories. And as a result of those memories, it's drawing conclusions and making you experience physical sensations. The important thing here to note is the fact that this happens really fast and it happens automatically. So by the time your awareness is actually trying to draw up its own conclusion, it's including what is coming from your subconscious. However, we oftentimes don't think about it. I mean, we talk about it and reference it, our gut, our intuition, our instinct, and so on. And what those are all really pointing to is our subconscious. The feelings that our subconscious is making our body feel. Now let's think about that for a second. What's going on? Let's say you had some, event go on in your childhood, and you felt negative about it. What your subconscious is doing is that if it sees patterns that kind of are similar to what went on in your childhood, it's going to make you feel that negative physical sensation again. In effect, it's an echo from your childhood, and that's the key here. You don't know what these experiences were, like I said, from your subconscious. More importantly, you don't know if they're right or if they're wrong or if they're missing something. Because sometimes we have role models in our past that were not good people. However, we remember them in kind of this, nebulous form. And as a result, we might associate good things with them even though they have these bad traits. In other words, and here's a perfect example. Let's say you have a father that didn't talk to you, right? He was very kind of cold. But he was your dad, and he kind of gets this mythological place in your mind because of that. So now when you meet another male and that person is cold to you, whether you're a male or a female, you might feel almost a kinship to this person because they remind you of your dad. The thing is, you don't know that this is going on. This is all going on in your subconscious, and it's correlating a pattern with a kind of an image, a conclusion that you have in your mind, okay? This person is, was your dad, was your protector, was your, supplier, and supported you and so on, right? And those are all good things. However, this cold thing is not a good trait to have, right? It's better for us to be able to communicate things with people. However, that negative trait may make us feel comfortable with someone because they remind us of all the other good traits associated with that person. So what I tell people in this case is that you should never trust your gut. Never. Absolutely never. What we need to do is kind of a two-step process. One is to recognize that during the course of a day, our subconscious is constantly making us experience physical sensations, feelings, right? Based upon all the input that's going on from our five senses. But we don't know what that conclusion is. And as a result of that, that physical sensation, those feelings, are influencing our awareness. The way we kind of get a judgment of an event, of an interaction with a person, of a decision we have to make, whatever it is, part of that influence comes from how we feel about it, and literally the physical sensations we experience in our body. So if you ever come into a behavior when you're not understanding what you're doing, or maybe what someone else is doing, I can guarantee you that what is going on is that person or you are listening to basically letting their subconscious influence them and drive their behavior without thinking about it. And in the case of behavior that doesn't make sense to you, that subconscious is misleading them. It is drawing a conclusion that is incorrect. And if you think about it, that makes sense, right? The stuff that we learned and kind of, conclusions that we drew as a 5-year-old, as a 10-year-old, they may or may not have made sense because we were young and immature at that point. However, those memories and experiences, and therefore the physical sensations, are still going to be present. The great thing about our awareness and our consciousness that changes this whole equation is the fact that we can question what those conditioned responses are. We can say, oh, I'm interacting with this person and nothing seems to be wrong, but I'm feeling something negative about them. What is going on here? Maybe there's a hunch there. Maybe there's something right about it. But more importantly, maybe there's something wrong about it. And that's kind of the key. We need to experience these physical sensations, recognize what they are, and use them as a signal to our awareness. And our awareness should say, okay, my body's feeling this. Is it right or is it wrong? If I'm not sure, let me explore further. However, we should never, in my estimation, trust our gut and say this hunch is absolutely right because I'm feeling it. Because you're feeling it, it doesn't mean that it's reality. However, we sometimes operate on the fact that it might be. So let me reiterate again. Just because you feel something doesn't mean that it's real. It can be correct. It can also be a misleading conclusion. More importantly, a certain conclusion can also be absent. So our radar can be off sometimes, and we may not see a warning sign. So in all cases, we should use our higher level reasoning, our awareness, to recognize what's going on in the situation, include our influences from our subconscious, those feelings, but not use them as absolutely correct to judge them. So I hope that kind of helps you. The fact that so many people operate on this kind of automatic knee-jerk response is not very good. And people just do it on a regular basis and they don't even think about it. But what is going on whenever you see irrational behavior in you or in someone else, I can guarantee you it's that subconscious influence which is making a person feel something and they're assuming it to be true and they're just acting and responding on it. And that's never going to be good. And that's why we result in irrational behavior. Thank you for listening.